What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. Today was quite the crazy day, and so I want to go over what really moved it and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi went down 2.47%, 28.85 the low, 30.14 the high. So no new 52-week or all-time high. I probably did jinx it, to be fully fair, because during the pre-market I mentioned that we were having a little bit abnormally low volume, so most likely you weren't going to see any new all-time highs today. So my bad, guys, my apologies. But when it comes down to the volume, we also had very low volume throughout the whole trading day. So 43.4 million shares being traded, 66.15 is the average. So some of the data that did come out was somewhat mixed. So we did have a lot of data. So we had S&P composite, manufacturing and services. Composite was a little bit lower, manufacturing in line, and then services higher than the forecast. So kind of evenly divided all around. All above 50 though, on a side note, so that does show more of an expansion still occurring rather than contraction. We did have the Richmond Manufacturing Index, so that's more of a smaller control group, but that did come in at -17. Forecast was -10, so it shows that there was less growth than there was anticipated. But the big thing for today was Powell, and kind of funny enough, I think initially when he was talking about tariffs, it showed that the consumers weren't really getting hit as what they previously thought, and he honestly sounded fairly optimistic. He kind of alluded to he doesn't want to cut too fast, because that has risks. No matter what path, I guess there's a certain amount of risks involved. So again, he's kind of trying to weigh all that out. In my opinion, my interpretation kind of alluded to that he might not be cutting in October, but I think it's kind of premature to hopefully price that out. But aside from that, one big thing that really spooked the broader market that caused a crazy sell-off was him saying that stocks are overvalued. So normally, as far as I'm aware, I don't think a Fed speaker normally says that type of things. But yeah, that's what really spooked the broader market, caused a lot of kind of domino effect. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It was a pretty good swing trade type of opportunity if you did buy the bottom and exited there. But I think just based on a lot of the options that was done, there is a lot more downside that is potentially anticipated. So that's what really affected the broader market today. Shorts, yesterday they did increase roughly around, I think it was like 2.2 million. They didn't do all that much today, so they did increase 157,000. 8.7% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 102.36 million shares overall being shorted. So shorts aren't really doing that much. As I mentioned in my video yesterday, they went from almost like 50 to 60% of the overall volume to now 30. So they're not doing too much in reality. I think that's at the same time because SoFi's become very popular with institutions. So I think just even if they wanted to, they wouldn't really make up a good chunk of the volume. So definitely welcoming to see institutions keep buying SoFi. Looking at the options, we had 54 million in calls, 11 million in puts. So kind of low dollar value in comparison to what it normally is. But 44% of all the options being done were bearish in nature. And so most of that was actually while Powell was speaking. So if we kind of pop open this, so again, go back over here between, for instance, between 1240 and 1245, there's 3.6 million. So that was kind of at the low for the day. So if we take this, orient it based on premiums, let's see what big money is kind of assuming. It looks like it was a multi-leg transaction. You can tell based on the timestamps, but it looks like $20 calls were sold. So interesting kind of stuff going for there, but at the same time, a significantly lower amount for premiums. Looks like 26 puts were also sold. So kind of interesting. So that's a little bit more bullish, but again, overwhelmingly more bearish. So a lot of multi-leg transactions. So I think a lot of institutions are just going to be taking advantage of a lot of the volatility that most likely Powell is going to bring and everything else. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be between that, looks like $30 to even $31 by the end of this week. And then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub 28. It'd be interesting to see in both of these cases when they were done, whether it be in the pre-Powell speech or post, but looks as though based on all this, there still is a lot more upside than down. These are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market. So it looks like after hours, you're seeing a little bit of selling, a couple of pockets of buying, but honestly, nothing like that stands out. It does seem to be pretty evenly divided, some buying and selling. Aside from that, these are all the transactions that did occur on the dark pool above $100,000. And what I'll do is actually, I'll just going forward, just select the premiums. That way you can kind of see some of the bigger transactions. So it looks like there was only one big one for today, and it was 15.3 million. And that was done before the market did open at 7:28. Side note, I know I didn't mention it, but there was no news, no SEC filings associated to SoFi. So again, just my bad on that. Aside from that though, with it closing at 29.09, it is trading between these 2 points. So this R1 and the pivot. So 28.43 is going to be that strong support. 29.76 is going to be that next strong target / resistance point. And I'm looking at the 4-hour chart just to give you an overview on that 1-day chart, 27.96. So that's going to be that key point. I don't really see that being touched throughout the rest of the week, unless let's say GDP and also PCE coming in like very, very bad on Thursday and Friday. But that's going to be the next strong support. Next strong target is going to be that 30.25. So I do feel like there's definitely a lot more upside. No new analyst ratings today, no real articles talking about SoFi. So today was just at the mercy of the broader market. As you can kind of see, algos were very active today, and that's something that's been abnormal because I feel like SoFi has been not really influenced by algos as much as it once was. Looking at today, comparing it to yesterday, a lot more willing sellers. So might see a little bit of a battle at that kind of 29.15 and above, and I think that's exactly where it is after hours right now. So that's going to be a little bit more of a back and forth, but in my opinion, I think it doesn't really matter what the market's actually thrown at us. Like everything seems to be a buy the dip type of moment. So despite Powell saying that, hey, you know what, things might be overdone and just too hot, people just say, F you, Powell, go cut some rates, and then we just move on higher. So let me know your general viewpoint on Powell. To give him the benefit of the doubt, I do generally understand why they are wanting to be kind of not so fast on cutting rates. I get his viewpoint, but I think personally, there's been more than enough data to justify that. So I get his hesitation, but at the same time, all the data has been pretty solid, if you ask me, even based on his comments that he mentioned today. Like tariffs and inflation, like they're not really that damaging as what they previously thought. So I do feel like it is time to have a second cut in October. And yeah, as far as evaluations, I think that's just as what he also mentioned about how just society and the economy is becoming more and more productive. With higher production, you're going to have higher multiples. So at the end of the day, I'm not too worried about a lot of his comments, and I think this might be a good opportunity to buy in certain sectors. So be aware of that. So let me know your general thoughts on SoFi. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. If you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my Patreon. Link in the description below and also the comments. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. So link to that is in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.